Welcome back to Cherry Pickin'. Today is part 2 of fixing the radiator on my daily driver 1966 Ford station wagon. Let's get into it. Alright, well, after two devastatingly bad failures of trying to use a different radiator out of a Mustang, totally didn't work at all. And trying to fix my radiator didn't work at all. Crack was just too big for me to deal with. I'm not an expert at soldering and all that. So, after all that, I got lucky. There were 2 cars actually that were dropped at the junkyards, as you saw. And I got both radiators. Now, one of them, not as nice. The other one, well, it's usable, I think. Doesn't look too bad. Biggest thing is it's got a little bit of like corrosion, electrolysis or something inside on some of the fins, and then it had a bunch of sludge at the bottom. The car had clearly sat for a long time, but I rinsed it out, sprayed it down, looks okay, and so hopefully it works because that's what we're gonna put in the car. So right now I've just got to go grab the fittings off the old one to throw them on this guy because this actually has like rubber hose fittings, and since I still have my original lines and they're perfectly good, I'm gonna go ahead and use the correct fittings, and then we'll slap this puppy in and fill it up and hope it doesn't leak. So let's do that. Well, this video is really just trying to be marked with failures. Got a small problem. So I discovered after looking at these 2 radiators, because I went to go prep this one by putting the right fittings in it, and if you'll notice, it looks very oddly thin compared to this one. Much thicker. This is the one off the white car in the junkyard. It's not as nice of a radiator, but it's the correct extra cooling package radiator that had a fan shroud. This one came off that red 66 LTD in the junkyard that clearly did not have a cooling package because it is much, much thinner. The core is much thinner, which kind of sucks, but it should work. It's obviously not going to hold as much as this one, by probably a gallon or 2. But, you know, I'll take what I can get. But the other issue I'm having, I went to just try to use this one, hope it was going to hold, and the fitting is actually already broken out of the radiator and it spins. I went to put a socket, a 6-point socket on it, and it just immediately started spinning. I haven't even tried this side because I don't want to risk making it like this side. This one came out super easy. This one, fighting me a little bit. So we're going to have to see how this goes in a few minutes. Right now I'm kind of just tightening up some lines under here and, well, trying to figure this out. But I'll let you know what happens when we get there. So if it's not one thing, it's another. I'm really failing at this. Now, currently waiting for a little bit of backup to work on the radiator situation. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna do something easy that I know I can tackle and, you know, just get something. One of the other things I got in the junkyard was a set of pedal pads. This is from the LTD, and the pedal pads are, well, garbage, and they're not even better than mine. However, they have the stainless trim, and if you don't know, this stainless trim is not being reproduced to my knowledge, and I've had a hard time trying to find it, so I just took the whole pads because it was easier that way, because this stuff, the factory stuff, is thick. Hard to bend these tabs over. But I'm going to go ahead and clean these guys up and make them nice and shiny and put them in my interior because, well, I think it adds just a little bit more class to these cars. So we'll clean these up and get them on. And then I also got one more thing. I actually did get a handful of stuff, but this was one more thing I got that, although it wasn't super important, I got it anyways. It's an ashtray, and I actually had to get the whole ashtray assembly, and I'll explain why once I get the other one out. But this one was blue. Now it's not aqua, and my dash is aqua, but the one that's currently in my dash is black. So I thought this was at least better than black. So we'll put this in too. It's only a few screws, and then we'll have a new ashtray, I guess, or newer. So anyways, I'm gonna clean these up. I'm just using some steel wool, some 4/0 steel wool to clean up the trim here. Already making a big difference. As you can see, that center is pretty nice already. Sides done. These are stainless, so I'm not gonna go crazy on them, but they'll clean up pretty nice. And yeah, so far it's looking a little bit shiny. You can see the side in the middle that I did and the other side. You know, just a little bit of elbow grease goes a long way. So get these cleaned up and then we'll throw them on. They actually do have some paint on them. There's some red paint here. Let's see if I can scrape it off. Oh yeah, it comes right off. It's gonna look real nice. There's a little before and after for you, and just a little bit of shining up, and it looks good. Damn, that thing's loud. So we get this one cleaned up and we'll put it on the car. This is before, and there's after. That's what it looks like with them on. Can't really see the gas pedal, but dresses it up just a little bit. I think it looks just that much nicer. I do need to get one for my emergency brake pad. I didn't grab the ones off the cars. That was kind of a dumb mistake, but this is a new reproduction pad, so the old trim doesn't fit well on it. So I need to find a nice original one to put on. But there we go. Now we got some trim. Now to change out the ashtray. Now we have the old ashtray out, and we can really see the differences between these two. The old ashtray that was taken out of this car, the old ashtray that was taken out of this car has a channel that the insert had nylon runners that it slid in between. And it was honestly really tough, and I was always worried I was going to bend this plate trying to pull it. The new one uses a metal guide slider in a channel, along with a slider on this side. So quite a bit different. And once it goes to a certain point, it stops, whereas this one actually has a little lip that stops it. You can kind of see the differences on top. This one has a light that goes back there. This one does not. I'm not entirely sure if this is from a 65. It's either from a 65 or a 66, but I know this is out of the 66 in the junkyard. So maybe that this is the early one and they changed it because they were having warranty issues with people pulling these out and pulling the plates off. You can actually see where mine is starting to separate right here, because you have to pull really hard if this is tweaked in any way. So other than that, they look pretty similar in design. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in. It's just 4 screws, and then we'll hook up all the wires, and then I'll have a blue ashtray. All right, and we've got the blue ashtray in. As you can see, it doesn't match at all, but it's a lot closer than black. And honestly, it opens way easier. It slides very nicely. I can see why they went to this different design. It's a lot better and a lot less action. It takes a lot less effort to open it. So, may not be perfect, but at least it's blue and it kind of blends in just a little bit better. But now I really got to get going on that radiator. So we've got the smaller radiator tank. Basically, there's a tiny leak at the bottom of this one, so we're going to go ahead and solder it up to make sure it's actually closed. That one we'll probably end up using for parts to fix my other one, since it's got pretty messed up cores and the bottom is all messed up here. So probably end up using the top tank off of it and get my other one fixed, since my other one's actually got a good core, just a bad top tank. But we'll get this filled and then it'll get slapped in the car, and I'll at least... Now my cooling might be a little bit less than normal, although I honestly don't think it'll be a huge deal, especially now that the weather is cooled down. Plus I'm only driving 15 minutes at a time at this point, so it'll work for a while. All right, and well, we got it soldered up and I put my fittings in. Like I said, this is kind of going to be just temporary, because until I can fix my radiator, this is going to have to be the best I got to at least drive this thing around. All right, and now we do the process of connecting everything back together, putting everything back on it, putting the fan shroud back on it, because definitely going to need that since we've got less cores. This is like a 2-core, and the heavy-duty cooling one is a 3-core, I think. So we're going to hope these transmission lines just go nice and smooth in. All right, well, I'm gonna get all this buttoned up and meet you back here when everything's back on. All right, it's all in, all back together. Fan's on, shroud is on, and our new radiator is in. Hopefully it holds, so we're gonna go ahead and start filling it. Now, I know I'm gonna have to probably fill transmission fluid because a bunch of it poured out. But, of course, the wind's gonna be a fight. But we're gonna get some distilled water in this and some coolant in this, and then probably use the used coolant that I saved underneath it, since I don't have anything else right now. Kind of just hoping this doesn't leak. All right, it's the next day. I actually had to take this thing. Already took it on a test drive and drove it around, make sure I had no leaks. Now, this is the next day, but I do notice that I do have, I don't know if you can see it there, a little bit of a leak from something, because it's a little bit wet right under the radiator, and I can tell. Open up the hood here, see if we can see in here. The radiator did pretty good though. I did not overheat, which was nice. But like I said, I have a leak somewhere. It looks like my transmission lines. So I'll probably go in, tighten those up just a hair more. Actually, we'll feel under here. You know, there's a little, I mean, it's not wet by any means. Not on that one, at least. It's got some darkness, but the lines were dirty, so let's see, can I get to this one? I don't even know if I can get to this one. Same with this one. Not even really wet, so that may have just been residue left over. And actually, let's see, do I have not a lot of fluid in there? Let's check inside our radiator. Yep, full to the top, so may have lost a teeny bit, or it just burped through the system. But I'd call that a success, at least, after all the failures I had with not being able to fix my radiator, not being able to make a 70 Mustang radiator work, which I don't know why I thought it would. It almost did, but it was just too far off and too wide at the bottom to slide down far enough so my transmission lines would have been an issue, which I could have made custom, but I wanted to keep it as it was because I knew I was going to put it back to original. And I couldn't fix my original one, and these two radiators had issues. Now, I still have that other radiator. It's got a good top cap, so I'm going to take it to a radiator shop in the future, swap the top cap to the good radiator core, that's my core, and still have a factory extra cooling package radiator. For now, I'm just going to run this one. We're getting into fall right now anyway, so the heat is going down significantly. Today, actually, the high is only 85, and you can tell it's windy, so it's not even that bad, not that hot. We'll be okay. So that's going to do it. We finally had one little bit of a success. I still have to check my wheel bearing because I've got a bad wheel bearing problem that I got to deal with. Could just be loose, I don't know. But for today's video, this is going to be it. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, a comment, let me know if you enjoyed it. Subscribe even to the channel, everything helps. I really appreciate you watching it. So thank you very much. And well, you'll see this car again and many others next time on Cherry Pickin'. See ya.